Hey, thanks for tuning in. You're watching the Dice Tower. So.
Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hey folks, welcome to the Dice Tower News for September 16th, 2013. As you may notice, this is nothing personal. Now, I try not to talk about my game too much. It's difficult. This is a game that I co-designed with Steve Avery. Give him props, main designer. I helped him out. Nothing Personal is a game that's now published. It came out at Gen Con. It's out, and it's available to be purchased, so I thought I might mention it every once in a while. I just put up some videos this past week where you can see how to play it. So that will give you, I mean, if you watch off, I think it's 30 minutes on how to play the game, hopefully give you an idea of the rules. I might do a game through play game through at some point, but it is available for you to get. You'll either find it at your local game stores, or you can find it you can buy it directly from Game Salute. I'll stick the link in the links to this, but it's a heavy game, so I don't know. It's fun though, I think. But anyhow, let's get on to the news. But before we get to the news, a couple of house cleaning things. First of all, I want to mention that there is a brand new podcast that we started, Dice Tower Showdown. I'll talk more about that in the podcast, but keep an eye out for that. Secondly, Dice Tower Audio is the audio version of this. I have actually not done that for a couple weeks because I've been busy with other things, and I've had a few people ask me about it, so I'm going to keep doing it for a while until I sense that the demand is not there. But if you want audio versions of some of the videos, like, for example, I'm finding people aren't real keen on the reviews, but they like the top 10s, the top 100s, the news videos. If you'd like those, then go to dicetoweraudio.com and download the show, and that way I can tell how many people are interested in it or not. I'll have this news one posted, and I'll post some of Eric Summerer's top 100s. I have a whole pile that I'm going to go through and put up on there. So if you're interested in that, dicetoweraudio.com. All right, to the news. All right, for gaming news, lots of cool things. Kaleidos Games has announced a reprint of an older game. This is one of the first reviews I did maybe 9 years ago or so of Dice Run. Dice Run is a game in which it was basically a race, but the things that were racing were dice, and you were trying to get specific dice to the goal line. An interesting game. I remember enjoying it back in the day. I don't know if I'd like it now, but certainly want to look forward to. Don't forget, another thing to look forward coming to out at Essen is the C3K. That's the Creatures Crossover Cyclades Kemet. Oh, so excited about this, folks. I saw it at Gen Con. It's so neat. Basically, it lets you take the creatures from Cyclades and use them in Kemet, and the creatures from Kemet and use them in Cyclades. Now, I don't really care about the Cyclades thing, although Cyclades is a fine game. So bring in all those cool creatures from Kemet, fantastic. But bringing the creatures from Cyclades into Kemet, okay. Splatters is going to have the 4th edition of Roads and Boats out at Essen. So this is a game that people are always trying to get. They don't actually have a new game, but they have Roads and Boats, and lots of people like that. A big news being announced at Essen is Fragger Games. They make one game a year. It always has some kind of animal theme involved in it, and it always sells out at Essen. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it's reprinted. One of the games that they did get reprinted was Snowtails. It was a dog sled racing game. Mayfair picked it up, Asmodee picked it up, and it did very well. Now they've announced Snowtails 2. This is the first sequel game that they've done. Mush Mush, it's called. And I don't know what, I know it has a lot to do with the first game, but they say it is an actual sequel. We'll see as time goes by. Z-Man has announced Russian Railroads, which looks like a pretty strategic worker placement game in which you're building a railroad empire. Sounds interesting. Carcassonne. Z-Man has announced they got Carcassonne in Toys R Us. Congratulations to them. That's a big store to get that into. But also, in the announcement, they announced that there has been 7 million Carcassonne games being sold. To put that in perspective, my own game, Nothing Personal, we have printed 3,000 copies of that, and if they all sell, I will be woohoo! Age of Steam has sold less than 15,000 copies, and that's a game that's highly regarded. Here, Carcassonne has sold 3 million. That's 7 million. 7,000 thousands. That's really great. Congratulations to them. On Kickstarter, a couple interesting games. We have a dual game from Tasty Minstrel where they're putting up 2 games from Michael Keller, Captains of Industry and City Hall. Now, City Hall has been up on Kickstarter a couple times before. Hasn't done it that well either time, but not for lack of the good things that people say about it. I met Michael Keller. He's a very nice guy, and everyone I've talked to says these games are very good, strong economic games, so take a look at that. 2 games. And then 404 Law Not Found. I just think that's interesting. It's a game about robots fixing the problems that humans make. Ludonaut has announced that they'll be releasing at the Spiel, Lewis and Clark, and SOS Titanic. I had really wanted to see both these games at Gen Con this year, and I was able to see basically final production copies of both of them. The Titanic one, which is solitaire for multiple people in essence, but has a book where you see the ship sinking, is really cool, and the Lewis and Clark theme is one I think is really neat. And let's see here. The newest game in the Tempest line has been announced from AEG Games, and maybe this has already been announced, but I'm just finding out about it. It's called Canalis. It's by Philip DuBarry, who did Revolution, a game I like a lot. You'll see that in a minute. And it's a 45-minute back-and-forth game. I'm not really sure much more about that, but I am very excited about that. News of the week. Well, X-Wing Miniatures has been doing very strong, of course, selling out. And now we're seeing its competitor, or its kind of competitor, but also second cousin, I guess, and that's Star Trek Attack Wing. And now there's a couple waves being announced for Star Trek Attack Wing. You had the first wave, which was Wave 0. That's the one that came out with the starter set, and that was released at Gen Con and is available now. And next month in October, we have the first wave. Oh, hang on a second. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? All right. Here they are. This is the Reliant. These are cool, okay? And I'm liking the game, so looking forward to these. But they've also announced their ships for the next wave after that, which is coming out in December. And let's see, we have the IKS Koraga. We have the USS Excelsior. Stan Lee would like that one. And the RIS Vo, the Romulan scout vessel. And then another Cardassian Keldon Koronak. I don't care what it is. Cardassians is my favorite fleet. I think I like them because I think no one else is going to pick them. Everyone wants to be Federation or Klingons, and some people want to be the Romulans. I will be the Cardassians. But anyhow, that's coming out soon. Keep an eye. Seems like there's going to be a lot of ships for this. Star Trek fans rejoice. For reviews this week, I have several from my contributors are coming, and hopefully all the games that you see here will be reviewed. You can see Trains in some new Summoner Works expansion, Phantom Society, Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers deck building game, Kerflip, New Amsterdam, Castaways, Three Little Pigs, a little metal game here. This is an interesting one. TF22 Load, it's called. And then Autonotch Chip Leader, Heart Switch, and Story Wars. I'm going to keep one of these games for sure, not counting the Summoner Wars expansions. Of course, I'm keeping those. I'm probably going to keep another one and maybe a third one, so that's pretty cool. One of these games is the worst game I've played in a long time, vomitously bad. And one of these games I thought was going to be horrifically bad and is actually quite good. You'll find out this week. My question of the week comes from Kevin, and he's talking about getting a game group started in a new area and some advice and how to get people to that. Well, let me give you some advice real quickly on getting a game group started. For the most part in my life, I've, well, at least here in Miami, I came when there was already a game group started, which I am somehow kind of running it now. Didn't mean for that to happen. It just is the way some of it went. But it also kind of self-sustains. If something happened to me, the group would just keep going. And I think some of them would be happier for that. But finding a group, I'll tell you, for me, the number one tool that we use is Meetup. Meetup is a great thing. Lots of people scan Meetup and go through the Meetup groups in their area looking for different activities. Meetup is fantastic. Facebook is also a useful tool, although Facebook has a different it's kind of a different ball game. Meetup I think is exactly what you're looking for. And then just start from there. Maybe post things at supermarkets. I don't know if you want to do that, but find people who you might be interested in. Whatever things. If you go to church, maybe you'll find people interested there. If you are part of clubs or at work, you might find people who are interested in these games. When you have a meetup for the first time and you're looking for games to bring to that, I would be very thoughtful on who the people are who are coming. Always bring games that are fairly simple to play. Ticket to Ride is almost always in my selection, and so is at least 1 or 2 party games. You say, I don't want to play party games, but it's always good. What you want to do when people come to a gaming group is you want them to leave with a good feeling about the group. I have so many times seen new people come to the group and they get into groups that I've been part of and they get thrown into some over-the-top heavy Euro game or Ameritrash game that just has all these moving parts, and it can be very overwhelming for them and it could possibly cause them to have a bad time. I'd rather give them that good taste on their first time, so even if their second time they do end up playing a game they don't like, they can still say, oh, well, it was the first game. And so, how many games should you bring? I mean, I wouldn't bring 600 games. I usually bring about 20 to 30 to make sure there's enough to play. I bring a couple games, and this is critical, a couple games that you can teach and then leave, and the people will continue to play it correctly. That's a big deal. But there's not as many games out there as you think that do that process, and that you don't need to keep going back to the table and explaining questions because you're probably going to run other games. Be prepared not to play many games by yourself at first until you get the things snowballing, and then hopefully things will go better. Really, I could do a whole series on it, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about game selection there. I think game selection is important. I always bring what we call some gateway games. I bring some fillers. I bring some easy, light games. I bring party games. When I'm doing the new game group thing, I very rarely bring any of the heavier games at first. Unless, of course, I know I'll have some people who might be really interested in going that direction. So anyway, that's what I would do. Thank you, Kevin. And the Dice Tower Network. Plaid Hat number 105 has been posted, and just another email love episode where they take emails and answer them from folks. Flip the Table number 37 takes a look at the greatest of all shows. Okay, that's not true, but it was a fun show. Home Improvement, the board game. Rolling Dice and Taking Names number 22. They take a pretty in-depth look at Mage Wars and also talk about a survey that they handed out. Cardboard Jungle number 23. They interview Brian Fisher, and they also talk about other podcasts that they like or do not like about board gaming. I better go listen to that, huh? And we have a new podcast joining our network. Actually, we have 2, so anyway. The first one is Blue Peg, Pink Peg. This is a couple of gaming couples, 2 couples, and they talk about board games and relationships and interaction. And so they have 5 episodes posted. You can go check out those. In their latest one, they talk about Via Appia and some other things. So go ahead, and that's Blue Peg, Pink Peg. You can find that and all their other podcasts at dicetowernetwork.com. And we just started our own podcast. If you haven't listened to it, give it a try. Tell me what you think. Dice Tower Showdown. You can find that also at dicetowernetwork.com. Dice Tower Showdown is a podcast in which I moderate and people argue back and forth over, is this game better than this game? Is this game any good or not? Is this topic relevant? Like, is Kickstarter a good thing? Are local gaming stores still relevant? Et cetera, et cetera. So just check that out all at dicetowernetwork.com. So once again, we look at one of my shelves and say, why am I keeping the games on this shelf? Well, if you notice there in the top corner, we have the Adventurers. This is the first one, and it's probably the one I like better. The Pyramid one is fine, and it's good, but this one has the Rolling Boulder, which is just awesome. Underneath that's Escape, which is just fantastic. I love Escape. I'll probably keep it for a very, very long time. Lancaster is a Euro game. I don't know how much longer I'll keep it because I only keep so many Euro games, but it is a very excellent one. Underneath it's Revolution, which is a great bidding game. I like it quite a bit. Almost a must-buy 5 and 6 player expansion. Yido, think of Lords of Waterdeep upgraded. That's what Yido is, and it's really fantastic. Got some new games here. Lost Legend just came out, but I liked it that much. I'm a big fan of drafting, so I was glad to see that with the fantasy theme. Airlines Europe is one of the best economic games I've ever played, if not the best. Suburbia, the best city building game I've ever played. Really looking forward to the expansion coming out of Essen. Jet Set. Now, this is a great game that a lot of people don't know about. It's kind of economic, but also route building. Think of Ticket to Ride mixed with Airlines Europe. I guess that would be the best way. Maybe a little bit deeper than Airlines Europe. Has some good expansions, too. City of Iron, a fantastic Euro game. And Libertalia. And people say I don't like Euros. Look at that. Airlines, Suburbia, City of Iron, Jet Set, Lancaster, Yido. All Euros. Oh, I like them all. Libertalia, pirate game, so whatever. Oh, and Super Dungeon Explorer. Can't forget about the one in the middle there. I do like that. That's basically Gauntlet, the board game. And it's super fun, especially with the expansions added. I want to talk about the reviewers on my channel today. Someone had commented that they didn't like the fact that we have too many things on our channel. Now, my first thought when I hear things like that is, really, we're giving you tons of content every week. I mean, there is so many reviews from so many people. We have top 100 lists, top 10 lists, previews of Kickstarter games, news, gaming release updates. I mean, I really try to have 20 or videos up per week. But then after I think about that, I'm like, I can see how people can be overwhelmed with the number of videos that come out. My answer to that is then, don't watch them all. Just watch the ones that you're interested in. I know that some people say, well, why don't these reviewers have their own channels? So let me clear that up for you. Each of these reviewers, I watch what other reviewers do all the time. And there's many good reviewers out there that are established and have their own channel and do things. But when I first saw Ryan Metzler's first video, he did a comparison of crokinole boards. And I said, wow, he did a really good job. So I went to him and said, would you be interested in doing videos with me? And he did. And that's how I got each of these other people to do videos. And they like, when I first saw Barry Dublé, I know not everyone likes his humor, but I laugh every time at all his videos. And I saw he made fun of me in one of his videos, and I thought, that's great. Bring him on board. So I bring these people on board for a couple reasons. One, it is literally impossible for me to cover every game. I'm trying as hard as I can. I am now doing an average of 10 games a week, which is 520 games a year. But there's more games than that come out. So having multiple reviewers lets me do that. But also, multiple viewpoints. You are constantly criticizing my viewpoints of games, and that's perfectly acceptable. The only person who's going to think exactly like me is me. So you will think differently than me. So it's good to see different viewpoints of games. Ryan is obviously a Euro gamer. Bart is a war gamer. Barry is a crazy gamer. Dan is an enthusiastic gamer, and so is Scott. And I like having all these different viewpoints on the show, and I hope that that's helpful to you. So that's why we have these people on. I've had people come on the show and they've gone off and done spin-offs and done their own shows and things. That's happened on the Dice Tower podcast and things, and I think that's great. We are here to make the Dice Tower the premier gaming review platform for you guys. I work hard on that every week. I'm constantly upgrading equipment, trying to make the videos just a little bit better edited, trying to work on getting them out to you as fast as possible, but it's hard work. There's a lot of work involved. So these guys are coming on, essentially volunteering for the most part, and I am so thrilled to have them on board. They do a fantastic job, and as long as they want to be on this channel, they are here to stay. Well, that's all I have to say about that, but I'm so thankful for them, and I do appreciate you guys' comments. I know that some of you like some of the videos better than others, and some of you even like my videos, which is awfully nice of you, which is good because there's a lot coming. And that's it for today, folks. Lots of stuff coming. I was really pleased with the amount of videos that we were able to get out last week. I got a couple cool previews for you to see this week. I have, like I said, those reviews, and I think Ryan Metzler is going to continue his top 100 games of all time. It's exciting, okay? It's just an exciting time to be a gamer. At the same time, it's kind of nice that we have a bit of a lull here between Gen Con and S and the rest, but there's games to review. So until next time, I want to always make sure I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so very much. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel.
To find out more about all of our podcasts, check out DicetowerNetwork.com. To see a listing of our videos, head to Dicetower.com. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Cool Stuff Incorporated, where you can buy games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock.
Shut the door.